Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. Coming into this, does one need to watch the first season of The Terminalist to get into what's going on?
No, I don't think you have to watch the first season of The Terminalist to get what's going on with this. I think it would make the experience richer if you had seen the first season of The Terminalist. So I would advocate for people to do that if they haven't. But if you haven't, you're not going to be lost. You could pick it up and watch right from the beginning and be fine.
With your character coming in, it's a battle of moral compass as far as the mission's concerned. You know, when you take on these roles, do you take stock into the characters you're playing in terms of like, there are probably people in real life who go through this?
I mean, we're reminded because we're working with the SEALs every day as well. And they're, 5 of the 7 episodes is written by
a veteran.
A vet. So, I mean, you don't have to look far to be reminded of that kind of stuff. But yes, of course, you're always taking or checking in on who Ben is and the lack of rules of engagement, where he is emotionally. That's what we do. So, and I love that exploration. I think that was the beauty of this whole season, because I think it is going to raise a little bit of debate. And I think that's the point of, like, when you're watching it, it's a what would you do in that situation? And especially if you're going to make this personal, and that's what it is for Ben. You know, he loses his, what is it, Drawn. And,
his Turpin, his family.
Yeah. So, and then he gets a chance for redemption, right? And then he gets a little more craving to keep going with the lack of rules of engagement. So I love that exploration.
Did you guys have to go back into combat training?
I love to be refreshed, right? It's not like I'm doing this a ton off camera. So, and when you have the best of the best being like, hey, you want to go to the range?
Yep.
You'd be stupid to be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain, expectation physically where you should be able to show up and look like a guy who, if he had to, he could run 5 miles with a backpack on or whatever. But mostly the training is about, for me, it's not even so much about handling the weapons. My partner on this, Jared Shaw, he's kind of like actually James Reece in real life. And so, like, he's my comp for James Reece. And the more we do this, he'll come up to me and he'll just look me in the eyes. And I know what he's saying is like, stay off that third rail. That I don't want Chris Pratt here. I want James Reece. James Reece is dangerous. He's not a goofball. He's not fucking around. Like, he's on the edge of life and death his entire life. And so the training for me is not so much about physicality or weaponry, but it's like working on my spirit to make sure my spirit is matching the spirit of James Reece, because it's a little different than the spirit of myself.
For anybody who's getting into this now and you haven't read the books, is this set up where if it's successful, the show, you can do another season 2 before you get on to season 2 of this show?
I mean, that's hopeful.
Oh, before you see season 2 of this show?
Yeah.
No, season 2.
Oh, yeah, because they're shooting.
We're shooting season 2 right now, and that'll come out next year. But you could definitely, there's real estate 7 years between the events of season 1 and what we're seeing in Dark Wolf. And so essentially you could have more seasons of him spiraling into the darkness, and ultimately it'd be great to have it weave right into season 1, to where you're seeing him with Steve Horn, you're seeing him make these calls, you're seeing Capstone Capital, you're figuring out how these lines are connected, how guilty he may have been, what choices did he make, was it out of his hands, was it in his hands, that's the beauty, that's the soup that we really want to get to, and in this season we don't get to that, but we just start him down the rabbit hole. But I think season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By season 11, we're gonna. As much as
I'm like,
security.
yeah, man.
It'd be amazing if we had an audience response that allowed for us to continue to tell these stories. I know we're both eager to. And the dream would be that you could fill that entire gap and finish it by him, hearing that the platoon went down. And that would be like the. Oh.
Congrats on the show.
Hey,
thank you.
Forward to season 2. Keep it going. We'll talk down the road.
Cool, thank you.
Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. When you take on these characters that you're playing, do you take stock into it, knowing that there are probably people in real life who are doing these roles?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's at the forefront of our minds, really. We do it to service them and to do them justice. So, I mean, I personally felt a huge amount of pressure and responsibility to bring Rafe to life in an authentic way, because he's described so well by Jack in the books. So yeah, it's at the forefront of our minds for sure.
Which is, yeah, you know, this we said it's a show made by veterans, ultimately for veterans. And when we have guys like Ray Mendoza and Jared Shaw, and when you get the seal of approval from these guys, it's a real compliment because they don't give anything away. And so a nod from Ray or Jared when you do something technically right in terms of operation, of movement, of mindset, right? It's very fulfilling. We still have to we still have to have the 80-20 rule, right? We're still injecting a little bit of the old Hollywood,
80s
action because Jack is such a film buff. He really loves 80s action film. That's where his whole mindset for writing all this stuff came from. I think was 80s action films, and so yeah. So we're it's a love letter to those action films, but it's also the progression, I think, of authenticity that we're trying to. We are covering. It's great.
Yeah.
With Rafe, he seems like he's conflicted with what he has to do. Without giving so much, how do you define his character?
Well, Rafe is someone who lives by the code that he's been taught, you know, within the code of what the SEALs live by. And this move into the private sector, into, you know, the Black Ops, it's different and there's less rules and they're bendable, which doesn't sit well with him. But his loyalty to Ben creates a grey area there for him. I think he was in this situation solo, he'd be gone way back. But Ben convinces him it's the right thing to do for his brothers downrange, so he's convinced to do it because he thinks he's going to be doing some good for the guys that he's just left behind in Iraq. And ultimately knows that Ben is probably doing it for some selfish reasons as well. So, Rafe has that confliction throughout the season of loyalty to Ben, but also his own moral compass and how that's bending further and further away.
With your character, is it all about the rules of engagement, or does he scour the lines?
Yeah, it's probably the opposite. I think he doesn't like rules. We don't know where his loyalties lie at any given point. He's the dog that won't stop humping your leg. He wants to be part of the group so bad, but he's probably also a sociopath, and it's fun to play this morally ambiguous character. It's fun.
Without saying much, a whole season to go.
Fun. Yeah.
It's great to see you guys.
Thank you.
It's good to see the season. I loved it. You know, obviously, if we can do another one down the road, who knows? But keep it going.
Yeah.
We're there to support.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate
Good
you.
to see you.
Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. Each of your characters have a specific reason why they're joining the cause for the mission. When you think of, you know, do you take stock in the characters you're playing in terms of, you know, what they're doing, in terms of people that are probably doing this in real life?
Very much so. I realized that over the past 30 years of taking on characters, that the more you throw yourself into the world, the more you can bring to that character on the screen. And some of the things I learned about Jed's world through me, I was able to represent not just the boss, but a guy who was committed to a larger cause, and that's what he was.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the strong thing about this show is that this is real. It's real people. You know, it's not. It's an impossible situation. You know, it's so every character has, and you have to like take it from the script and from the books, and then add on to that. And for me, Mo he's an individual who's, you know, lost everything to dictatorship, had survival skills from the beginning, which were defined and strengthened by the CIA and the programs that he was in, that made him a very dangerous man and very intellectual, very competent, and with a real moral sense. So you put these kind of people in impossible situations, they have to make choices that you and I luckily don't have to make, and then you have to figure out what would he do in this situation. And I think that makes it interesting to watch, that it's hard for them, even though they do it, they turn on and they do what they have to do, but it's not just a given, because there are people like you and me who have to live with the consequences afterwards.
Yeah, it's just like he said, it's people in an impossible situation, and that was really my approach for my character and the way I read it for the first time. I just saw her first, I saw her personality, and then what she does. She is not her job. She does her job, but she is not her job. And the way she was written also, she very much felt like she could be one of my friends. And I think a lot of the time, especially the people that will never know their names, the operatives that will never know what they do, and 25-year-old Talvarons that will never know exist, we have an idea of them who and the idea kind of falls and disappears when you take the person first, and the personality, and what it is that they like, and how do they talk, what's their humor. And I think that was my way to approaching also this operative side, is the person first, and also there's the person and what she does. And I think it was very well written in Tal, like that, in that young energy.
Very quickly, does one need to watch the first season of The Terminalist to get into this, or can they just watch this separately?
I would recommend you do it just to get some more layers, but you don't have to. You can dive into this. This is a standalone show. It's really entertaining on so many levels, and you can watch it by itself. But if you do watch Terminal List 1, you'll have some reference points, which will make it even more interesting. And for the fans of the books of Jack Carr, it's like extra layers, because then you can recognize some characters which you know will be there in the books, and you have an idea about them. They will come in later in the book. So it works on both levels.
Congrats on Rose. Congrats on the series. We'll talk down the road.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you so much.
All right.
Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. At what point did you know you want to do a series based on Ben's character?
I think it was a couple weeks after The Terminalist hit screens last year. It became this big hit for Amazon Prime, became #1 that summer in 2022. And I think they wanted more, we wanted more. We had such a wonderful experience making this. We all wanted to get back together. It's become like a family. And then Chris Pratt had the idea to explore this character, Ben Edwards, because he was really a fan favorite character, so much more nuanced than he was in the book. And that's because of Taylor's performance, him bringing this humanity to that character, which really, I think, it elevated the performance, but then it made that betrayal at the end feels so much more visceral and personal to the audience. And we don't know from the books how he got to that place. And this was something that we could now explore and have the freedom to explore, first through the screenplays and then translating those through the production onto the series that you've now seen. So the freedom to do that was certainly enticing. Taylor wanted to explore it. We were curious about that background, and to Amazon's credit, they allowed us to do it.
Does one need to see the first season of The Terminalist to get an idea? Because when I watched this series, I was confused at first. I thought this was season 2.
Oh no!
You know, and I want to forward somebody goes, "Oh no, this is like FBI and FBI Most Wanted. This is a spinoff."
Yeah.
You know, so does one need to get involved just to get an idea of the characters, or can they just jump right in?
People can jump right into The Terminalist Dark Wolf. You don't have to have seen season 1 of The Terminalist.
After reading all 7 novels,
soon
to be 8.
Exactly. After reading all
that,
8
adding them to your
novels
collection,
by Jack Carr.
gifting them to as many friends as you possibly
right.
can.
Then you can dive into the shows, and you can watch them in any order. But I do think it's very important that people understand that The Terminalist Dark Wolf is a prequel. It takes place 7 years before season 1 of the flagship series. It is a separate show. It is the story of Ben Edwards and how he moved from the Navy SEALs into the black side of operations, and how he potentially loses himself to the world of the dark side of operations and clandestine operations that are happening around the globe. It's a big globe-trotting espionage thriller rooted in character in Ben Edwards and Taylor's performance.
And I'll add in on that. Sorry, like Dave said, you don't have to watch it, but if you do watch the first season and you see, in the finale, you see the turn, you see what happens, then it really gives you that appetite to kind of go to Dark Wolf and explore what happened, what brought him to that point to do what he did, and kind of turn on his buddies and that whole thing. And so we're able to start exploring that.
I'm really curious to hear from people that watched Dark Wolf first and then watch The Terminal List. I'm really curious to see how those people are going to feel when they get to that final episode of The Terminal List from 2022 if they haven't seen it yet and watched Dark Wolf first.
Congrats on this. Obviously, you've got something going on here that you can do multiple seasons of both shows. Especially when you're talking about this is a prequel, you can keep going on, and then, like I said, it can keep going. You just got to get Taylor to keep shaving. and de-age himself.
Yeah.
So congrats again. We'll talk about it. Let's keep it going.
Hey, thanks so much.
Take care, guys.
Thank you so much. Thanks.